Hey guys, back in 2011 I made a video called Fact, Earthquakes Only on One Side. And in this video, well here, let's hit play for a second. Some facts that are going on the planet here. As far as I know, nobody's looking at this, but let's go ahead and this is just here in the last few hours, and we'll Okay, what I'm going to do here, just a second when I hit play again, you'll see that I'll move this down to 7 days. This is the age, how many days in history is showing. And right now we have it set as far as the magnitude to show any earthquake that is a 0 magnitude all the way up to 10. And so I'm going to hit play and you're going to see how it was in 2011. Go ahead and update it to make sure nothing's changed. And nothing has, but let's go ahead and take this up to 7 days, and you have to bear with me, computer's being a little slow. But we see the activity down here and down here, of course in Japan and up there in Alaska. And then okay, before I rotate it around, I want you to see that this is the 9.1 magnitude earthquake that hit Japan, that created the tsunami that hit the Fukushima nuclear power plant. And for those of you that don't know, the narrative about the Fukushima radiation and all that is hogwash. It's nonsense. Go do some research on nuclear power plants, the real truth behind nuclear power plants. I mean, you could go and do some research on it, and you'll see that there's a guy that was back in the beginning when GE first made the first nuclear power plant, a guy that used to do everything from swim in the 110-degree water that would cool the elements down, and he would handle the plutonium in his hands, and there's absolutely no effect on the human body. In fact, plutonium, once it's heated, creates a charge which creates kind of like a free energy. Nevertheless, guys, I'm not going to get into that in this video, but what I want you to see is the activity. I mean, you can see that in let's go up here and look at this. We got 7 days, the last 7 days in back in 2011, and magnitude 0 all the way up to 10 is what's being shown. And you can see there's a little bit of activity down in here, a little bit of activity in here, a little bit of activity over here where you can't quite see, but it'll spin around, and then a bunch of activity where obviously we had the 9.1 earthquake, and then a bunch of activity in the United States. Let's hit play. California and Mexico, Arkansas, Puerto Rico, and South America, and it's extreme activity. But what I want people to notice, and those who are trying to figure things out and investigate and do their thing, notice this. No activity on the opposite side of the planet. Now I'm bringing this up. Okay, so what I want you to see is that this whole side of, quote, the planet, or this section of the Earth, and guys, there is no space. Okay, there's no space at all. Space is part of the false narrative. You have a firmament over a stationary Earth, and it is that firmament that is, and things in the firmament that are moving. I'm not going to get into the details on that. If you guys want me to make a flat Earth video, I'll make one. I don't know that the Earth is completely flat. I don't know that it's a circle. I think it's a square. I think it is a square plane with a circular Earth in the middle of the square plane, and there may be lands out in the square part of the plains. I don't know, but remember that this military-industrial complex, as it was once called, the New World Order, as it was once called, and the Deep State, as it's now called, they control everything. They control your education. They control the narrative of science. They control the narrative of biology. They control the narrative of everything. And 90% of the time, whatever their narrative is, it's a mirror. So if you look at the reverse side of that, that's the truth in most cases. But anyway, on this part of the plane, and this part of the earth right here, there is absolutely no earthquake activity. And as I proved in prior videos, some of which have been taken down from my channel. Matter of fact, there's a lot of videos that are removed from my channel nowadays. But the videos that were prior to this video, I was showing that basically they started in one section on the earth, and they started out in small magnitude, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 range, and then they grew into a 4.0, 5.0, 6.0 range, and then after it started to get into 5 and 6.0 range, it spread a little bit farther to the east, to the east, and then, but when it spread farther to the east, again, the new area to the east was only getting 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and then eventually it increased to 5.0, 6.0, and when it did, it spread more to the east, and then more to the east. And as it spread to the east, they start out small earthquakes, and then over time they gradually build up to bigger and bigger earthquakes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come away from here, and we're going to look at today, which is 7 years later, now almost 8 years later, and it's time for a warning for the Americas, as well as Europe, South America, Africa area, all sorts of areas. Let's take a look. We're looking at the last half of a day. Okay, so over here on the age, not 0 days, but not 1 days, but half of a day. This is what it's also 0 magnitude and up, just like on the last one, 0 magnitude and up. But in this case right now, all I'm showing you is a half of a day. And just quickly, let's just take a look at what's going on. You got a 5.5 down here in South America, and then you've got a couple of 4s here and here, and then one over here in California. And then we just spin around real quick and take a look at things. You got the Alaska area there where that 7-point magnitude earthquake hit, and then you got this area here, and then you got that. But what I want to do is I want to set this up the exact same way that we had it set up in the video in 2011. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this age all the way down to 7 days. I'm going to shrink the earth down for a second so that we can get a better view, just like we had in the last video. But then we're going to come up here and we're going to move it to the 7-day mark. So we're just going to bring this on down to the 7-day mark, and this is what we're looking at right here. And so you can see the activity is now pretty extreme compared to 7 years ago, and this is the reason for the warning. Like I told you guys, that when it finally gets around all the way to the United States, then I'll make a video of a warning video for our area for potential of large earthquakes, devastating and cataclysmic in some cases. But like I said, they start out small and they grow and they grow, and then once they grow, then it spreads, and then they start out small in the new area where it spread it out to, and then they grow and grow and grow, and then it spreads. I've shown this time and time again. Now, but let's look at the other side of the planet, because it's spreading that way too. Let's go around here. It's going to go slow. I don't have the best computer in the world, but I've got a pretty decent one. And so now we can see that this side, even here, that was at one time blank 7 years ago, is now become very active, and it will continue to become active. And eventually, these blank areas, like right here where South America is, this blank here, and the blank up here in the Russia area, will eventually fill in as well. And so now what we're looking at, these places here that have the 4.0s now have the potential for 5.0, 6.0s, because again, once it spreads, it starts out small and it grows and grows and grows until eventually it gets into the 4, 4.0 range, and then at that point it starts to grow into the 5.0, 6.0, 7.0, 8.0 range, as we've seen time and time again. It's a spreading effect. But my point here is that the activity in the United States over the last 7 years has dramatically increased, including in the Oklahoma area where the fracking goes on and all that kind of stuff. But you can see that the activity is dramatically different. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take, we come over here to the chart here, let's go over to the chart, and we're just going to take this and we're going to slow it down to just show 3.0 and bigger. Okay, so now we're just looking at 3.0 right there, 3.0 and bigger, and you can see that there's still quite a bit of activity, 3.0 and bigger, whereas in the last video there wasn't hardly any activity. Let me just scroll out here so we can get a complete view of it. And so now it's time, guys, to go ahead and put that warning out and to be prepared for very large earthquakes in the United States. It's no longer let's wait and wait and wait and put a warning out, but now at this point it is safe to go ahead and say to have a preparation ready for a massive earthquake in the United States. It has definitely spread all the way through the United States, along the coast of the United States, along all the islands, and into the middle of the United States, and the North American craton that comes down through here has not been lit up. So you know, eventually it will light up and you'll start getting the minor earthquakes, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, all the way along the craton here. Anyways, guys, I just want to give you a heads up on everything that's going on. Earthquakes, guys, are created as far as this deep state or military industrial complex that has all the technology and has done the researches and has all the information that they've hidden from us that would allow us to have free energy and all the other different things, has the capability to use frequency to create the an earthquake anywhere that they would like to.
An earthquake's out to a girl's guitar, that's just another good vibration.
You got to remember, guys, that this deep state controls every aspect of the matrix. They control all the sciences, they control all the schooling, all the education, they control the music industry. That's why they tell you the truth right there in their lyrics of their music. They don't hide anything from you. They put it out in the public, but they got the public so dumbed down at this point that, and by their narrative, by the false narrative that they've been putting into people for all these years, that we simply don't even pick up on the truth when it's presented right to our face. Anyways, guys, what I'm trying to tell you is be ready now. If you live in the United States, be ready now for massive earthquakes anywhere. You know, it don't have to be on a fault line. They can do things that will blow your mind. Okay, like I said, you know, when Trump, once they take down the deep state and they take down the evil that they've exposed, that part of it that they've exposed, once they do, are they going to release all the technologies for us? That's what I'm doing in that series of videos, is trying to show you guys that they already had all this planned out, you know, and they've withheld technology from us. And if they ever reveal the technology to us, that means the end of the petrodollar. That means the end of roads, because you'll have hover vehicles. You'll be like the days of the Jetsons. It'll be the end of oil. It'll be the end of all the big major industries that have enslaved us and caused us to go to work every day of our life, and they use our labor and our resources, you know, to do what they want to do. Nevertheless, guys, I'm not going to get into all that. This video is here just for one reason, and that is to let you guys know that if you do live in the United States now, coming into 2019, 2020, we are now at the right spot. It has shifted enough into the United States and far enough across the earth in order to have the potential for very large earthquakes in the United States now. So pay attention, have a plan. Wherever you live in the United States, have a plan of where your family will meet up or what you're going to do if there is a very, very big earthquake, 6.0, 7.0, 8.0, 9.0, 10.0 size earthquake. If these earthquakes hit, they're devastating, and they can take out entire structures. So you need to have food, you need to have water, have a bug out bag ready, and have a plan of where you're all going to meet up and that kind of thing. Guys, don't live in fear. There's no point in living in fear. Fear does not accomplish anything. It holds you back. All I'm trying to tell you is that it's now been 7 years, and these earthquakes have now spread, and they have grown in size. Remember what the Bible tells you, that it will be in divers places. Let's take a look. Okay, we're over here on Blue Letter Bible. That's blueletterbible.org, and the only reason I'm using Blue Letter Bible instead of Bible Gateway is because it has concordance, a strong concordance with it. So let's go down here and let's look and see what he had to say. Matthew chapter 24 verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Okay, nation against nation, that's like the United States against Russia, or United States against the Ukraine, or United States against Japan, or Russia against Australia, or whatever. Okay, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, the kingdom of light against the kingdom of dark, the kingdom of heaven against the kingdom of hell, the kingdom of God against the kingdom of Satan, Lucifer, whatever. Okay, that's what it's talking about when it's talking about the kingdoms. And there shall be famines, which we've seen over and over again all through the earth, and pestilences, which we're seeing now, and they're going to be increasing, and earthquakes in diverse places. Okay, let's go down here, and it says in Mark 13:8. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in divers places, and there shall be famines and troubles, and these are the beginning of sorrows. And then over here in Luke 21:11, 3 witnesses, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Okay, so you're going to be seeing signs in the heaven. You're going to see signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars. You're going to see signs on the earth and in the heavens. You're going to see, and we're seeing all this already taking place. And now they're going with the D class of UFOs, okay, which is military operations and genetic operations, to where they have hybrid beings that will present themselves as people from other planets. There's no way out of the earth, guys. The earth is a plane of some sort with a firmament over the top of it that you can't get out of. The firmament has gates, it has doors, but what I'm saying is, as far as space travel, there's no such thing. But don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Know the truth for yourself. I'm not here to tell you that the earth is flat, okay? I'm not here to tell you that the earth is not a sphere. I'm not here to tell you that the earth is not a sphere. You need to check all that stuff out for yourself. You need to get the evidence and the facts for yourself, not from listening to me or to listening to other people, but get facts for yourself. You have never been told a truth in your entire life. The narrative that they fed you is all lies. It's all deceptions. But let's get back over here and let's look at what this divers means. First of all, it says and great earthquakes, and let's see what it means by great earthquakes. We'll look at G, which is Greek 3173. Okay, Strong's Greek 3173. Megas, and it means great. And then we come on down here and we're looking at the B, 1 great B. Okay, when it comes to the number and quantity, it means numerous, large, abundant. Okay, not small and not a few, but numerous, a lot of them, abundant, plenty of it, and large. That's what it means. Or you can go with this, when used of intensity and its degrees, with great effort of affections and emotions of the mind, of natural events powerfully affecting the senses. So violent, mighty, strong. Mighty and strong. And then if you go with one was great, which is what they use, but if we go with some of this other stuff, such as number 3, then it would mean splendid, prepared, on a grand scale, stately. Okay, so that's what it means great. It means large, numerous, and abundant. Let's look at one more thing. Okay, so great, large, numerous, and abundant earthquakes shall be in divers places. This Greek 5117 is for the word places, not divers. It should be right. That number should be right here if it's for divers. So we'll go up here to this one, right here, where it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in divers places. And here's it's Greek 2596. Divers is Greek 2596. So Greek 2596 is kata, or kata, whatever you want to call it. It means down from or throughout the earth. Divers places throughout the earth. Okay, and this is what I've showed you guys way back before 2011. I showed, and even in 2011, and even in 2012 and 2013, I showed you that that these earthquakes started in a small area of the earth, and then they spread eastward, and then they grew in scale, and then they spread to the east again, starting out at magnitude 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they grow to 5, 6, and 7 magnitude earthquakes, and then it spreads to the east some more. And now we have it all the way everywhere, pretty much everywhere. I mean, you have blanks, like right in here from Canada through the United States, you got a blank in that area, but at any given point in time now, an earthquake can strike there because the earthquakes are all the way into Oklahoma. You also have a blank down here in South America that there's no earthquakes right in here. But again, they can strike at any time. You have them all to the north, you have them to your west, you have them to your south and your southeast, and directly to the north. Okay, and the same thing goes on over here. We now have all sorts of earthquakes going on down here in the southern part, which did not exist in 2011. And now the only blank spot you have now is literally Africa, and as well as up in here where Europe, the upper part of Europe, Sweden, and Russia, and that area is at. Okay, and believe me, those can trigger at any point. We are looking at now throughout the earth. Okay, we're looking at a sphere here because that's all that they'll give us is spheres to try to keep the narrative going. But nevertheless, they are throughout the entirety of the earth now. The only thing now we're looking for is the scale, the size of them to increase. And now they can strike pretty much anywhere at any time. Australia don't have any either right now, but they've been having them, and they will have them. So just a heads up, guys, be ready, just be prepared. No need to fear, guys.